grew up on the strictest diet you could possibly imagine. It was almost like I was in a cult. I wasn't allowed to go trick-or-treating for Halloween, wasn't allowed to have cake at birthday parties, or obviously in the house, nothing, no, nothing like that. It was mostly macrobiotic and vegetarian, and as a teenager and even as a kid, I would really eat as much garbage as I could when I was out. And to me, obviously, it was treats, things that were these forbidden treats. And then into my 20s and 30s, treats like chocolate and lots of things like lasagna, pizza, pastas. Into my 20s and 30s, it was pretty crazy. There was so much freedom. I would just choose these things all the time in the stores and for dinners, lunches, or I would just eat really literally chocolate bars for lunch a lot. And I looked really good and I felt pretty okay, although there were certain things that were happening I didn't realize were from the food, like not always, sometimes feeling depressed or, little things that would happen. Anyway, I kept on doing it. I didn't really have much motivation to stop until I reached age 43. I was in between, there were times I would be really kind of strict vegan for like 3 to 6 months, like a high raw vegan or even fully raw vegan. I was really inspired. I even wanted to become a vegan chef. A raw vegan chef. There's a big difference between the two because actually vegan food can include a lot of processed foods and can be very, very unhealthy. So I definitely make a big distinction between raw vegan and vegan. That said, I don't really believe that we should ever have dogma around us. I actually raised my kids with a lot more freedom than I had. I did raise them vegetarian, and I let them choose when they got older what they wanted to eat. But I also allowed them to have treats. I allowed them to go trick-or-treating, all of that kind of stuff, because I didn't want them to have the experience that I did, which I think it's sort of a double-edged sword, because I think it is what caused my food addictions. And, there might have been other stuff, maybe other things as a child that caused me also to have these addictions. I'm not really sure. But anyway, when I got really sick at age 43, I did an 18-day raw food cleanse. I started doing colonics. My life was absolutely changed. I was so sick at that point with chronic Lyme, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, mold toxicity, depression. Literally, it was like my body was one big bruise. I would try a couple times to have a massage because I felt so awful, and the slightest touch would be so painful. My bones, my joints were hurting. I was in my early 40s and I had what felt like arthritis, which was from the Lyme. I don't have that anymore, which is amazing. I had chronic lower back pain for 6 years. It was kind of a dull pain, so it wasn't super painful, but there were times I would feel like I had to go to the ER, and I would go to the ER thinking that there was something wrong with my kidneys, and I didn't realize until years later it was just simply that I was blocked up from all the pizza, pasta, ice cream, cheese, all of that stuff I was eating, and very little vegetables and fruits. It's crazy to look back on now. I still have cravings sometimes, but I'm so much better. I just feel super, super energized most of the time, doing juices and eating raw foods and eating some cooked food sometime, but mostly raw. I mean, right now I'm fully raw, and it's just, the way I see it, we don't need to be dogmatic. It's not like I need to say I'm never going to have this or that again, though I do commit to being vegan. There were a couple of times I did slip up, but it's not a religion, We're all human, and I just want to feel good. I don't ever want to be sick again. I don't want to be sick like I was, so that's what inspires me to keep going. And I know that there's no quick fix. I know that if I had just done that cleanse back in 2021, that raw vegan cleanse and the juicing cleanses I did and everything, and the parasite cleanses, if I had just ended there and just gone on to go right back to the way I ate before, I would be right back to where I was. But instead, I am probably about 85% healed now from all of that illness I had, including scleritis of the eye, which is super painful. I won't go into all the details, but it's no way to live. It really is no way to live. And it's a lot harder to go through all of those illness symptoms and to feel like garbage than it is to eat clean. It's not you that wants all of these kinds of foods. It's actually your microbiome that is steering the ship. We've got bad bacteria, parasites, all kinds of fungus and stuff that is telling us what to go and have. Like, that's the little voice in your head at 8 o'clock saying you've got to run to the store and get a pint of ice cream. That used to happen to me all the time. And it took me decades to realize that I wasn't really in control. And once you start to eat cleaner and cleaner, your palate it changes. It becomes different, and you no longer crave those things anymore. In fact, those foods will taste disgusting to you. I remember, for one example, I was working in a chocolate shop at the time, and there were these salted caramel truffles that were they're not like these chewy, rubbery caramels that you might know about. These were like really creamy inside, and they were made with this French white chocolate that had been caramelized and covered in this incredible like Ecuadorian dark chocolate with salt, and it was really delicious. It was like delicious to me at the time, my favorite candy. And after going raw again, because I would kind of go back and forth, this is before I got sick, I tried one of those truffles, and it literally tasted like wax. I couldn't believe it, because I still don't fully understand, It tasted like absolutely the most decadent, incredible thing when I was not eating clean. But then when I went clean again, it was awful. I didn't even want it. So anyway, if I can do it, you can. I'm wanting to just inspire anybody who's currently feeling that way. If you're currently feeling that way, like you can never get out of it, you're eating awful stuff, it makes you feel terrible, you may even have a chronic illness like I did, there is a way out. Just try one thing. And this is how I started too. Try having green smoothies. I was really inspired by Victoria Butenko's book. I think it was 12 Steps to Raw, I think it was called. And she had done a study with 30 people, I believe, around 30 people, bringing them green smoothies every morning. And some of them had diabetes, they had, they were overweight, or they had fatigue, they had all kinds of things going on. And after the 30 days, 30 people, 30 days, it was amazing what the results were. I think the person with the diabetes had reversed, their blood sugar level went down back to normal. They were all told they could just eat the same way they did. Maybe some of them made some other changes, but I think for the most part, the only change was the the green smoothie. So I'm telling you this because you can do that one thing. It's so easy. Instead of whatever breakfast you're eating right now, make yourself a green smoothie. 2 or 3 cups of greens, 2 fruits, and 2 cups of water, and it'll change your life. I wouldn't be here right now feeling as good as I do if I hadn't started with that one thing. You can do it. I hope you enjoyed the video and listening to a little bit about my story. If you would like to cleanse with me, there are big opportunities to do that all year long. Please look down below in the description to find out more. And there's also a link to how you can sign up to cleanse with me. I would love to see you. I also have a free series called Healthy Belly Secrets, which you're welcome to grab as well. I'll include a link there down below there too for you to have that. Here's to your health.